When the sun broke across the eastern ridge of the Rockies that Tuesday morning, no one inside the Cedar Ridge Hotel had any idea the quiet man checking in under the name Raymond Ellis was about to change everything. To them, he was just another retiree in a travel-worn cardigan and thick glasses, a slight limp slowing his walk. He spoke softly and moved like someone who'd spent decades standing in front of chalkboards or grading essays in quiet libraries. That's who they thought he was. But Raymond Ellis was no retired history teacher from Ohio. His real name was Malcolm Reddick. He was the founder and CEO of Reddick Hospitality Group, one of the fastest-growing boutique hotel chains in the U.S. From its humble beginnings, a single dilapidated roadside inn in South Carolina, he had grown the brand into 18 nationally recognized properties known for three simple things: cleanliness, affordability, and warmth. Not luxury, not exclusivity, just excellence, delivered consistently. At least, that's what it had always been. But something had started to shift. Malcolm first noticed it in the reviews, just a few, here and there. Mentions of rude staff, a colder tone, issues with simple requests. The kind of things guests often brushed off. But to Malcolm, they were red flags. He didn't believe in second-hand reports. If something was going wrong, he wanted to see it himself. So he disappeared. With the help of his assistant, he transformed. Shaved his beard. Dyed the silver at his temples to a dull brown. Traded his tailored blazers for a polyester windbreaker. Booked a room at the Cedar Ridge Hotel in Colorado under an alias. Not a single employee there knew who he really was. And that was the point. He checked in quietly at 2:13 p.m. The front desk agent, Megan, according to her name tag, didn't look up from her screen. She shoved a key card across the counter without breaking eye contact with her phone. Room 217. Breakfast is from 6 to 10. Don't be late. Kitchen staff hates cleaning up after lazy guests. Thank you, Malcolm said softly. She didn't respond. He took the elevator up, stepped into his room, and opened the guest services folder. He took notes in a small black leather notebook, just as he had back in the early days. Then he unpacked, settled in, and waited for morning. By 7 a.m. the next day, he was seated in the dining room. The breakfast area was what he'd expected: modest, clean, efficient. Eggs, sausage, fruit, a waffle station. It wasn't gourmet, but it was consistent, the same setup he demanded across every property. He took his seat near the back and watched. That's when he first noticed Brady. Brady, a lean young man in a vest 2 sizes too big, stood by the juice machine with another staff member, a blonde woman named Cassidy. They were whispering and laughing too loudly for the size of the room. "Here comes old man Parsons," Brady muttered. Malcolm turned slightly. An elderly man, white hair thin and combed back, walked slowly toward the buffet line. He wore a windbreaker that hung loosely on his shoulders and carried a small notepad. His movements were deliberate, careful. Brady raised his voice, just enough for the old man to hear. "Better hide the muffins. He's going to hoard 5 of them again like yesterday." Cassidy snorted. "Did you see him yesterday? Took half the damn fruit bowl. Like he's preparing for a hurricane." The old man hesitated. His eyes flickered. Then he turned back toward his table, shoulders hunched, face flushed. "Damn," Brady chuckled. "Didn't even say his name, and he still knew." "He's got a radar for shame," Cassidy added. Malcolm's fork paused midair. His appetite vanished. A few minutes later, a young housekeeper named Grace walked past. She paused near the elderly guest's table. "Morning, Mr. Parsons. Would you like another cup of coffee?" He smiled faintly. "That would be lovely, Grace." Malcolm watched her closely. She walked to the carafe, poured coffee, added a splash of cream without being asked, and returned with a napkin tucked under the cup. "You're always so kind," the old man said. Grace simply smiled. Brady and Cassidy leaned on the wall, watching, smirking. Malcolm made a note. After breakfast, he wandered the halls under the pretense of searching for a restroom. He passed behind the kitchen and caught part of a conversation near the staff lockers. "I swear, if that guy shows up again tomorrow, I'm hiding the damn yogurt too," Brady said. "You're awful," Cassidy laughed. "But yeah, seriously, this isn't a shelter." Malcolm walked outside. His hand shook, not with rage, but something heavier. Disgust. Disappointment. He sat on a bench near the mountain view, the one that was supposed to make this hotel a destination. This wasn't the company he'd built. He stayed through the afternoon. Watched the front desk turn away a mother asking for a crib with a shrug and a line about not guaranteeing requests. Watched a couple asking for a taxi get told to Google it. But Grace picked up a guest-spilled orange juice without being asked. carried extra towels down the hall for a couple with kids, smiled at everyone, even when no one smiled back. That night, Malcolm called his district manager. I want you to stay out of the Cedar Ridge location this week. Don't call. Don't alert anyone. I'm here, but I'm not Malcolm Reddick. Not yet. Are you okay? The manager asked. Malcolm looked out the window. I saw something I can't unsee. I need to know what else is hiding under the surface. The next day, he returned to the dining area. Quieter now. Brady wasn't on shift. Cassidy was. A manager named Derek walked through in a navy sweater vest. He stepped over a napkin spill by the entrance without stopping. A guest nearly slipped. Malcolm picked up napkins and wiped it himself. Derek only noticed when Malcolm stood up. You okay there, sir? Didn't want someone falling? The manager nodded but didn't thank him. Later that day, Malcolm caught Grace in the hallway. You're Grace, right? Yes, sir. I've noticed how you treat people. It stands out. She blinked, unsure. Well, they're guests. That's the job. Doesn't seem like everyone sees it that way. You're not wrong. A supervisor called out from down the hall. Grace. Room 409 still not flipped. I got it, she yelled back, already on the move. At lunch, Malcolm sat beside the maintenance tech behind the building. You on break? 15 minutes. You a guest? Yeah. The tech's badge read Trey. Busy place, Malcolm said. Too busy. How many on your team? Just me. You cover everything? Plumbing, HVAC, elevator checks, landscaping, leaks, ice machines, toilets, laundry. You name it. Malcolm exhaled. That's a lot for one guy. Trey shrugged. They were supposed to hire someone months ago. Do they know you're stretched? They tell me to stop complaining and log hours. Malcolm nodded silently. That afternoon, he watched Cassidy at the front desk ignore a request from a woman with 2 kids. Grace, again, was the one who carried a portable crib up 3 floors. Alone. That evening, Malcolm approached Derek out by the dumpsters during his smoke break. You run this place? I'm the AGM. Been here since we opened. Big job. Understaffed. Overbooked. Regional breathing down our necks. People seem tired. That's hospitality. You either swim or get out of the pool. You think that's sustainable? Derek blew smoke. We're making budget. That's what matters. He walked away. That night, Malcolm updated his journal. The next morning, he entered the staff hallway before 7 a.m. No one stopped him. He found Grace near the supply closet. You're not supposed to be back here, she said. I know. I just need a word. I can't be seen talking. Then let's walk. Out by the alley, he turned to her. I'm not a guest. Not really. Who are you? You'll know soon. For now, I need honesty. She looked at him for a long moment, then said, This place wasn't always like this. She told him everything. How support vanished. How roles were never filled. How morale died. How speaking up meant fewer hours. How she and Trey were holding it together. Malcolm nodded. Thank you. The next morning, he shaved again. Put on slacks and a button-down. Let the brown dye fade from his temples. No glasses. No limp. Not anymore. At 9 a.m., he stepped to the front desk. Cassidy stared at her screen, ear bud in one ear. She didn't look up. Malcolm waited. You Cassidy? She blinked. Looked up. Yeah. Can I? I'm not a guest anymore. I'm Malcolm Reddick. Her face went pale. Call your manager. Now. As she reached for the phone, Malcolm walked toward the dining area. Grace, he said. Come with me. Is something wrong? She asked. No. Something's about to be made right. They returned to the lobby. Tension filled the air. Derek appeared. Can I help you? You can explain why this hotel no longer resembles the company I built. Excuse me. I signed your paycheck. 10 minutes later, every department head and staff member on duty were gathered in the conference room. Trey entered last, wiping his hands. You're the guy from the bench, he said. I am. Malcolm stood at the front. I came here undercover, because I had to see for myself what was happening. Silence. I saw people carrying more than their load. I saw one housekeeper doing 5 people's jobs. I saw a lone tech trying to keep this place running with duct tape. I saw you mock guests. Ignore them. Treat kindness like it was optional. He turned to Derek. And I saw you let it happen. Derek opened his mouth. Don't talk about budgets. I've run hotels with less staff than this. He looked around. This isn't about numbers. This is about culture. And culture is leadership. He dismissed Cassidy immediately, suspended pending full review. Cameron, the desk clerk, was reassigned to back office. No guest contact until retrained. Derek, you're being replaced. Effective next week. Until then, you're shadow only. No decisions. No changes. Grace looked up. Why let him stay at all? Because I want him to explain the damage. I want him to feel what it's like to answer questions instead of dodge them. He turned to the team. Grace is now head of housekeeping. She's getting 2 new staff by next month. Trey, you're getting a second tech. And a float tech arrives Monday. He looked at all of them. You've been surviving. I want you to start thriving. From now on, a direct line to my office will be open. Any retaliation ends in termination. This company was built on one idea. People first. Somewhere along the way, that was lost. That ends today. No one spoke. Any questions? Still silence. Then let's get to work. 2 weeks later, the tone of the hotel was different. Not fixed, but better. The new GM, Dana, didn't wear suits. She wore sleeves rolled up and shoes meant for stairs. She walked every floor, asked questions, listened. That morning, Malcolm met Grace and Trey for coffee. They were still tired, but it was a different kind of tired now. Not despair. Just work. Cassidy had quit. The rest? Trying. Trey said it best. We're not perfect, but we're not pretending anymore. And that's something. Malcolm smiled. Later that day, he sat at the same table where he'd first seen Mr. Parsons shamed. The man never returned, but everything else had. Malcolm opened his notebook one last time. On the final page, he wrote, "Never assume the culture you built is still the one standing." Then he closed the book, stood, and walked toward the door, not to escape the mess, but to make space for those now ready to rebuild it.